let's talk about this difference between voters' perceptions of Joe Biden's age and Donald Trump's age, which is a fascinating topic. Okay, so Drew, hit the top lines for us here.
Well, let's start with Trump. I'm going to flip it up. Everyone has been talking about Joe Biden, but let's actually start with Trump. And this survey asked respondents, are you concerned about Donald Trump's age affecting his ability to serve as president? So it's a very broadly worded question. People can interpret that however they want, but just, are you concerned? And we gave folks the option of saying, yes, I'm very concerned. Yes, I'm somewhat concerned, or no, I'm not concerned. So on this question, 49% of voters said they were either somewhat or very concerned, and 48% said they're not concerned. So as we'll talk about in a moment here, voters are very concerned about Joe Biden, but a plurality, almost a majority, are concerned about Donald Trump's age. Now, the thing about the way people answered this question is that it polarized very neatly on partisan lines. So overwhelmingly, Republican voters said they're not concerned. Democratic voters said they are concerned. And so when that happens, you get this kind of 50-50 even split. Now let's contrast that with Joe Biden.
So it's fascinating. I just want to drive that point home. I mean, 71% of Republicans said they weren't concerned about Donald Trump's, right? So that's really the majority of partisans just lining up behind their guy and saying, no, I'm not concerned about that.
That's right. Now, when we asked the same question about Joe Biden, so I'll just read it to you again here. Are you concerned about Joe Biden's age affecting his ability to serve as president? Top line result is a lot more people said that they were concerned about Joe Biden's age. The underlying reason is that there wasn't that strong partisan, almost cheerleading that we saw in the question about Donald Trump. So at a top line level, remember, 49% said they were concerned about Donald Trump's age, but for Joe Biden, it's 75%. So this again is real. This is not some story of the week. 75% of voters here are saying that they are either very concerned or somewhat concerned about Joe Biden's age. The reason for that is all the Republicans say they're concerned because they're Republicans. That's what we would expect. But many Democrats say they're concerned, and specifically many young Democrats say they're concerned. So among Democrats, 50% of Democrats say they're very concerned. Among people who voted for Joe Biden in 2020, 54% of people are concerned. Among Democrats aged 18 to 34, and this is really where the numbers shift and why Biden's numbers look like this, 70% of Democrats aged 18 to 34 say they're either very concerned or somewhat concerned about Joe Biden's age. And we've seen the same pattern in public opinion among young Democrats in Joe Biden's approval rating and in other aspects of perceptions of his presidential leadership, that young Democrats who you would think would be a very strong supporter of a Democratic president are not on board with Joe Biden. They say that they don't approve of the job he's doing, and they're concerned about his age. And this all goes hand in hand.
Right. So, Drew's making a point about, both partisanship and age, right? That it's young Democrats, but just as a baseline, just as a really an easier baseline especially for people listening to this. It's always harder, talking about numbers for people listening.
A lot of numbers, I know.
There's a lot of numbers, but I just want to go back when we asked about Trump, 71% of Republicans said, no, we're not concerned.
Right, that's right.
But among Democrats, 49% said, no, we're not concerned.
That's right.
So it's Democrats who are coming forward and saying, they didn't line up lockstep behind their guy with that question. That said, it doesn't mean that given a choice between Donald Trump, I mean, if this is what it turns out to be, between Donald
Right.
Trump and Joe Biden, it doesn't mean that those people aren't going to vote for Joe Biden. I think, the question is whether or not there's a third party candidate, like a Cornell West or something, who provides an outlet for someone. But that's a different question. Just in a
Right.
pure head to head, let's just keep it what we know. If it was a pure
Mhm.
head to head, those people who are expressing, those Democrats who are expressing concern, are most likely still going to go ahead and vote for Joe Biden again.
Yeah, that's exactly the issue, is that the folks who well, on the Republican side, these voters are committed to expressing good things about Donald Trump. Period. No matter what we ask about, we'll get
It's
to this in a
almost
minute.
like a cult. It's
But
almost like a cult, Drew.
I just read the numbers,
Almost.
Carrie. I just tell you what the numbers say. But on the Democratic side, there is more willingness to be critical in voters' evaluations of Joe Biden and of Democrats in general. So when that happens, then it just becomes an arithmetic problem. You add up Republicans who are in lockstep and Democrats who aren't, and it's going to look a little bit worse for Joe Biden. But that doesn't mean they're not going to vote for Joe Biden. It just means they're willing to be critical of Joe Biden on certain questions in this moment.